Hey, everybody, I'm Roy Harmon. This is the Hot Pursuit podcast. And today we're joined by Evan Weber of Experience Advertising. Hey, Evan, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Well, I know you've really got a lot of things going on. Can you give everybody a little taste of your background?
Yeah, sure. I've been in the digital marketing industry over 20 years. I started in the late 90s with a free auction site and progressed from there to selling on eBay and early e commerce initiatives, building websites myself, basically. Went on to partner with a startup and join a startup that was there for 5.5 years, and we grew that to a successful internet startup from nothing. And I left there in 2007 and I launched my agency, Experience Advertising. I've had it for over 16 years. I've worked with over 350 companies, both B2C and B2B, on their digital marketing strategies, online advertising, growing their companies in various ways that I know how to do, became, proficient at. And I also have a software now called publisherfinders.com, which helps connect brands and advertisers with affiliates and web publishers to grow their affiliate program. So, yeah, I've spent the last 20 plus years educating myself on how to do digital marketing properly and learning from every situation, trying to stay on the cutting edge, and imparting that back to people out there in the world how to
Awesome.
do these things. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I know one thing that I've talked to you a lot about is retargeting, and it's a huge topic, but I think it's one where it's such a great way to be able to move people down the funnel, to have some control and ability to get really granular in how you're targeting people. So I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah. Retargeting is something I'm passionate about, and it's been around probably 10 years, but companies still don't leverage it properly. They still don't maximize it or optimize it for that matter. And it's a very important tool in the toolbox in order to achieve scale and in order to be able to open up your budgets, your ad budgets, to really let them flourish because it helps you convert better. It's one tool in the toolbox, a major one that helps companies increase conversion rate.
So where do you start with people who, on the more beginning side of the spectrum, people who maybe they're not really doing a lot of paid media yet? Where do you recommend that people start with retargeting?
Well, that's a great question, and I think it can apply to anyone, you know, regardless of how much traffic their website's getting, because you can always drop the tracking pixels from Facebook, from Google, from other third-party softwares that do retargeting like AdRoll or Criteo. You drop their tracking pixel on the website, and however much traffic you're getting, those people are going to get, cookied. So you could be getting, 500 visitors a month, 1,000 visitors a month, and you can still run retargeting ads. So essentially, it's following people around after they leave your website. Um, and that's one way to retarget. There are other ways, but the main way is to drive people to the website and then show them ads when they leave the website if they don't take the action you wanted them to on the website. And you can even slice and dice it a lot of different ways. Like if they reach the pricing page, you show them a certain ad. If they reach the About Us page, you show them a different ad. They, abandon the checkout, you show them a different ad. So you can segment within the retargeting audience based on their behavior on the website, for instance. So that's a great way to whittle down the audience to the most targeted prospects. But there are companies that will retarget every website visitor that may or may not have a lot of traffic because it's your retargeting audience size is going to be dictated by how much website traffic you have. You can also retarget by uploading databases into the ad platforms. So you can take like a list of contacts, a list of companies, and import those into the various ad platforms and run ads to those people as well. So that's another retargeting or remarketing strategy to could be to existing customers, it could be to leads in the CRM, you know, so targeting databases with retargeting ads or, remarketing ads is a great way to get the people back to the website. Of course, the website has to convert them adequately. So the website has to be doing other things well, like getting them to sign up, getting them to upgrade, all of those things. So it's really a tool to create repeat traffic back to the site to get them to convert on whatever you want them to convert on.
And do you generally recommend that people start with retargeting if they're getting enough traffic to do that? Or
Yeah.
do you find that it's usually better to focus on other areas and then add retargeting later?
No, I do believe in having it on there from day one. If your site's seeing any amount of traffic, and especially if you're paying to send traffic to the website, Facebook ads, Google ads, TikTok, wherever it may be, you need to be retargeting those people because you're paying to get them there. So then you need to be following them around when they leave. So it does need to be there from day one, but you do need a decent amount of traffic to even trigger the ads. You have to have a couple hundred people cookied in order to trigger the ads. So anyone really can use it with that much traffic to their website, and even be spending $5 a day, $10 a day, very small budgets. That's a nice thing about retargeting or most digital advertising is you can really put a controlled daily budget on it. If it's doing well, you increase it. If it's doing less well, you turn it down or pause it. So definitely should be there from day one, in my opinion. It's in the top of my list of recommendations for companies.
And when you talk about that granularity, you mentioned like if they get on the pricing page, you have this ad. If they went to this page, you have this ad. And then something that I've really liked to do is have audiences split out based on where they're at, in the buyer's journey, and that could be based on what pages they're going on or
Yeah.
something else. Is there any level of traffic that you feel like you really need to reach to be able to make that a cost effective uh, tactic?
No, absolutely not, because like I said, you can control the budget. So, but that's actually a good point because a lot of companies overspend on these types of campaigns. For instance, let's say your site's getting 20,000 visitors a month. I'm just throwing a number out there. It could be 10, 5, it could be 100,000. Um, they're running a retargeting campaign targeting the people that came to the site but didn't check out or didn't register, weeding out the people that did purchase or did register. Those people can be targeted, other ways, but just the non-converting people. You can put a $20 a day budget on that and get a good result. What happens is companies will put like $100 a day budget on it, and the people will see the ads 30 times a day, and it'll actually have a negative kind of effect because you're overspending. There's too much frequency of ad frequency. So the key to retargeting campaigns, as far as display retargeting campaigns, because there are other types. There's email. We'll get into that in a little bit. But as far as display based retargeting campaigns, display ads, they should be started at a very low daily budget, even $10 a day, $20 a day, proportionate to how much traffic you're getting, and then gradually increasing the budget on a daily or weekly basis. Once you see that those campaigns are bringing in sales, it has a good return on ad spend, then you just start edging up the budget 30 a day, 40 a day, 50 a day, until you sort of reach where you feel like, you know, diminishing returns kind of thing. Um, that's just one aspect is calibrating the budget. You also have to refresh the ads. You have to have a lot of different ads running, different ads to different people behaviorally. But for simplicity's sake, let's say you have, you know, two sets of ads running. to the same audience, the people that came to the site and didn't convert. So then you have, your multiple, your different sizes and two different styles of banner ads, let's say squares and rectangles. So after you've run that for 2, 3, 4 weeks, you can look in the reporting and see, okay, these three banners are working the best. These four are working less well. Let's pause these. Let's run all the budget to the ad placements and sizes that are converting the best. And that's how you would optimize it, um, with what's in the account currently, because you do have to refresh the creatives on an ongoing basis. The last thing you want to do is have, stale creatives, because they get stale very quickly. Imagine going to a website and for the next month seeing the same ad. Even the next week it can get annoying, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And I see that a lot. All ad platforms, companies on LinkedIn running the same ad for months and months on end without ever changing it. So I do believe in running, multiple creatives simultaneously, and then that allows you to see which ones are working, which ones aren't. You're tracking it back to the conversions. So ad one had three leads, ad two had one, ad they all had, and you keep the ones doing better and you pause the ones doing less well, and that'll focus your money. That'll maximize your budget and ensure that it's optimized. So that's a good little microcosm of how to manage a display retargeting campaign in a nutshell.
And what channels do you recommend, or what considerations come into play when you're determining, where am I going to try to retarget my visitors or how?
Yeah, that's also a great question, and it can depend on the industry. There are, the top platforms, Facebook and Instagram. Google has their own display network you can retarget in. LinkedIn, if it's B2B, you absolutely would be retargeting on LinkedIn. Um, then there's AdRoll and Criteo. Those are like third-party softwares that have placements on all the big news websites out there that people read articles on, and other placements like mobile apps. They get their ads in all types of different placements that you wouldn't expect. And so it's never enough to do it on one platform, in my opinion. You should be on multiple platforms simultaneously with low daily budgets. You could be running on Facebook and IG at 20 a day, Criteo at 20 a day, LinkedIn at 20 if it's B2B oriented. However, I have clients that retarget on LinkedIn, regardless, to B2C play, and they're retargeting on LinkedIn. Usually, if it's like a higher ticket item, but believe it or not, ad costs on LinkedIn aren't that high. And I mean, I'm running retargeting on there under $1 a click. So anytime you can get it under $1 a click, it's a winner. That's another thing. You have to make sure you're getting the traffic inexpensively enough. Over the years, the retargeting platforms like AdRoll and Criteo have raised their prices. The costs have gone up a lot. So, but on Facebook and IG, on TikTok, on LinkedIn, you can still get the traffic for under $1 a click, under 50 cents a click. And to be honest, that's where the budget should be going. Obviously, you have to make sure those, where the conversions are coming from. Um, but the budget should be going where you're getting the most traffic for the money. That's that, assuming conversions are following and happening, then you can see, like, maybe not every retargeting platform or ad platform will work for you, or it may just be cost prohibitive. You know, this one might cost 100 a customer, but that one costs 25 a customer. So obviously you're going to put more of the budget or try to maximize where you're getting customers at 25 a customer as opposed to 100 a customer. And it just goes into that same equation or formula of managing the company's monthly ad spend, effectively. So when you're managing on multiple platforms, you do have to take things like that into consideration, or you're just spending what you're spending on each platform and never making any adjustments. That's complete, idiocy. But by making adjustments, moving the money around, so to speak, to where it's working, where you're getting the most bang for your buck. That's how to optimize the ad platforms.
And when you do that, what about the landing page? Is that something where you just are using the landing pages that you're using for your initial ad campaigns, or how important is it to have those be different?
Yeah, that's a great point as well. Landing pages, you can have multiple landing pages. Some companies, send traffic to their homepage, but I never really recommend that unless the homepage is geared like a landing page. If it's set up and geared like kind of like lead post homepage, kind of like a like a nicely designed landing page, perfectly fine driving your traffic, everyone there, even the retargeting people. But you might want to take the retargeting traffic to a page of customer testimonials, customer reviews. You know, you know, listen to how Evan Weber uses lead post to garner more conversions, play video, you know. So not only can you have those type of videos running as the ads themselves, they bring them back to a page on the site that is, a social proof oriented landing page conveying a lot of, reviews and testimonials. So yeah, depending on what they do on the website, like or how you might have a list of in your CRM of 1,000 prospects, right? That showed interest previously, or the salespeople were talking to. So you would load those into an audience and then run a certain type of ad to those people. Hey, are you looking to do this? Or preempting their objections, saying, are you looking to increase blog traffic by 500%? Things that the audience you're targeting to, so you can sort of preempt their objections in the ads themselves. That's one way to go. Also having urgency in there, like sign up this month and we'll give you 100 free credits. Urgency, promotions. Not enough B2B companies use things like that in their ads, either top of the funnel or retargeting, but they should. So you can, and then land them to a page on the website that's most appropriate for that audience type. You could have, 5 or 10 different retargeting campaigns running simultaneously on Facebook and Instagram, for instance. See, if they've been to the site or they're in the database, then they're going on Facebook or Instagram. You may say that's not really where my people are hanging out, but they're going there at some point. So you do want to touch them at every possible touch point, in my opinion. S- You know, Simultaneously on multiple ad platforms, and that's how you really achieve saturation. But again, back to those ad campaigns still have to convert well enough. If you have too much saturation or too much spend on each platform, it could sort of cannibalize itself, diminishing returns. And so the daily budget, keeping it low and increasing it over time, like I said earlier, is extremely important to running on multiple platforms simultaneously with multiple campaigns in each platform. Because another factor is, the more campaigns, the more platforms, the more cost, the more your retargeting budget could get up to 500 a month, 1,000 a month, or more, um, which is fine as long as it's converting enough customers to have return on ad spend. So that's the balancing act. You know 5-10 years ago, it wasn't as much a concern because the traffic was cheaper. Now that the traffic is a little pricier, you have to treat it like any other channel you're optimizing, like Google Ads, Facebook Ads, where you're getting front end traffic to the site, entirely new people, and you're micromanaging those campaigns to greatness. Hopefully, you have to do the same thing with your retargeting campaigns now, just because cost has increased, things of that nature. It used to be like the best producing return channel ever created. But as time went on, and another factor is just tracking, accuracy of tracking on these ad platforms. It's not perfect. It's not even close to perfect. So you do have to kind of take it all with a grain of salt on the ad tracking side, but they're good enough to you know, Google had 10 conversions, Facebook had 8, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And really that's all you can throw some, UTM tracking parameters on there, track it with dedicated promo codes. That's another way to track each different channel. Like your retargeting ad could say, purchase this week and save 20% with code June, July, whatever, summer 20. And then you could say, oh, okay, 30 people did that. They must have come from a retargeting campaign. So there's other ways, tracking is always problematic, and you do have to take things with a grain of salt when you run online campaigns and sort of attempt to track everything as well as possible, but just know that it's not a perfect science.
You talked about not changing. You talked about how it's important to change up your creative. You talked about how it's important not to just overwhelm people with a million impressions a day.
Yeah.
Are there any other mistakes that you see people make with retargeting that uh, that people should avoid?
Well, the two biggest are daily budget, over budgeting on a daily basis. That's a huge problem, and just not refreshing creatives frequently enough. I mean, I even see that with email retargeting plays where they have the same email going out forever, or the same email sequence going out forever. Those need to be freshened up, just like all your other things need to be freshened up. All your ads running out there in the world, your website, you know, it's another thing that needs to be kept up to date so it's as effective as possible. Um, we haven't gotten into email retargeting, but we can sort of segue into that because that's something that a lot of companies don't keep fresh. Their email follow-ups. They'll have, an email workflow set up. Someone comes to the site, they don't convert, lead post detects them, they get triggered an email through an automation, and then, great, wonderful, but that email needs to be updated, or that series it sends needs to be updated on a, relatively frequent basis, whether it's monthly or quarterly or annually at the very least. Um, in order to, you know learn from it, what was the open rate, what was the click-through rate. Those things have to be looked at so you can have the best possible open rate, the best possible click-through rate, the best possible offer in there, so it's as effective as possible. So that's an yeah, those are the two. The other thing is just not utilizing every ad platform. You can even retarget people on Pinterest. Okay, someone come. Let's say it's a B2C site, or what they call D2C. These days, direct to consumer. They go on the site and they're looking at a T-shirt, a band T-shirt, and they leave the site. They don't purchase. Boom! They get triggered an email with the T-shirt. They were, that's like an abandoned cart email. Um, and then they surf around the web. They see that T-shirt following them around. That's retargeting in a nutshell. But what's important is to be hitting them from all the different angles, simultaneously, basically. So you're kind of everywhere they turn, whether it's their phone, their computer, email, even SMS, text. You have to get them to opt in, obviously, to send them, follow up texts. But that can be done from the website pop up. The website pop up can capture email and then text, and then the people can be triggered automated texts, when they come to the site and then abandon, that type thing. So these are all things that need to be running simultaneously. But that's where companies don't, execute. They don't implement everything to be running simultaneous. It's a lot to manage. It's a lot to
Yeah, have
manage.
you found any tools or anything like that that I mean, do you just do that all within the app platforms
Yeah,
themselves?
yeah, all within the ad platforms themselves. Every ad platform has their dashboard. Now, I sometimes use reporting, centralizing reporting so I can see. what all the platforms are doing for any particular client, but that's management. That's management, which is managing the ad platforms, logging in every day, checking them. That's just what needs to be done to run all these different types of ads effectively. You need someone on that in-house or outsourced, someone who knows what they're doing, or a joint effort to co-manage the ad platforms. I do a lot of that with companies. I'll work with their in-house team and we'll co-manage. We'll jump on the phone every Friday or whatever day and we'll go through all the ad platforms one by one. In an hour, we can go through 4 or 5 ad platforms. Could be Google ads, Amazon ads, LinkedIn ads, retargeting platforms. Go, you know, run through all the campaigns, the performance, make little changes, optimizations. All of that can be done within an hour a week. And just within that hour of week, greatness is achieved because I'm working with the client to optimize the campaigns. Without me, they just can't do it like they can with me. So, but I like to, co-manage things. I do manage a lot of ad platform, ad campaigns for clients where it's just me. That here, do it, Evan, take it and manage it for us to greatness. And then there's situations where they have the in-house people, and it's a co-management. Those are great because I can really get the company's perspective, and we can brainstorm our way to greatness as well. And I can also teach them how I do these things, how I optimize campaigns, and it's a learning experience for the in-house manager. So yeah, so it's like kind of like consulting and media buying at the same time and training. So that's fun. Hold on, you're on mute. Roy, you're on mute.
I've been so good about switching back and forth perfectly, and then there I am. Um, oh, and that's why I do. You hear me say just then. I have a tendency to I'll be like or yeah, and then I have to go and edit it all afterwards. Okay. Well, so when it comes to these weekly meetings that you have when you're co-managing with people, is there a checklist or anything like that that you can recommend to people when they're thinking about, okay, what do I need to do with these campaigns each week to make sure that they're moving in the right
Well,
direction?
yeah, because there are things to look for. If it was, a retargeting campaign, you know, how well are the different ad sizes performing? How well, certain retargeting platforms have different ad types. Some use video, some use text ads, or like a responsive ad. They like Google. You provide like a bunch of images, a bunch of copy, and they just create the ads, and then so that can be freshened up. Like I said, the ads can be freshened up. Looking at performance, what's the click through rate? You know, so each campaign type, if it's a search campaign, what keywords are triggering the ads? Which are leading to the most conversions? So there's always optimizations. Listen, it's not rocket science. I just know how to manage these ad platforms. You know what I mean? So I can optimize $100,000 a month Google campaign in 10 minutes. You know, I can audit it in 5 minutes and tell you if it's managed properly, and if there's upside there, which there usually is, but sometimes not. But 99% of the time, there's unrealized optimization or upside in any of these ad platforms. But some there's more than others because some are more complex, like Google, and some are, you know, more simple, like retargeting, straight up retargeting platforms. Um, but everything should work harmoniously together. All the ads you have on all the platforms, your triggered emails, your ads they're seeing, everything should coalesce. It should all be consistent. You need consistency. Your videos, everything. You need your vertical videos for TikTok and Instagram, stories and reels. You need, different ads for different placements, different platforms. So all of that needs to be updated on a somewhat regular basis. So you have to have that creative, you know, infusion of new creative. Have your designers and your video creators that you're using, like user generated content or influencer style content for those ad placements. You need fresh content coming in every month or every quarter. You need to be planning ahead. So your ads are timely, they're seasonal. Seasonality is big. Reinforcement, social proof obviously is big. Influencers and users generating videos, those are extremely big, and those can be run through the retargeting channel. um, so yeah, your retargeting channel is it's not just one thing. It's many things in one. And email, and even postcards. You know, all a lead post is you know people come to your site and they get triggered a postal mailer. They get triggered an email. They get triggered a display ad. So you really do need multiple touch points like that. The reason I like lead post is because, they reveal the contacts on your website, visitor identification, and those can trigger automations. It can trigger a postcard, it can trigger an email workflow, it can trigger display ads. So, those are two, like what you guys do, those are areas that most companies aren't utilizing. They're not sending postcards on the site visitors. They're not sending emails to people unless they opt into the pop-up box. So there's a whole, chunk of people coming to your website that are never going to opt into your pop-up. They just don't want to. You may not even be running a pop-up. But those people, you can still trigger an automated email or email sequence through a tool like lead post. So it becomes another retargeting play. They're going to get the email, and then imagine, a month later, the person just comes back to the website, comes back to my website. Boom, they get triggered an email. I love it when I go to a website and then I go check my email and there's an email in there waiting for me. I'm like, damn. I always think I know how it's done, but I always still think to myself, that's so cool. I love that. Um, but it's an underutilized technique. It's an underutilized, just that in itself. Triggering an email on repeat visitor. Um, so obviously, lead post can do it, on initial visitor as well, which is great. So yeah, those are great ways to leverage retargeting all at the same time, simultaneously on multiple platforms, multiple touch points. Yeah. Even like your blog. You know, there was a day when, we used to put a lot of content up on the blog for SEO, and it would get traffic, but it wouldn't nothing would come from it. You wouldn't get any revenue because they just come there, read the article, look and leave. But now imagine someone reads a blog post and they get an email in their inbox or even a postcard. Um, or they see your ads, when you leave the site, bringing them back. That's retargeting. That's Then you can invest in your SEO, your content strategy, and know that you're not just loading up your website with content, articles. When people find the articles in Google or wherever you share them, things are going to happen. Ads are going to be triggered, emails are going to be triggered, a pop-up, whatever, so you can have more confidence. Companies can have more, that they can spend more in each channel because they know that it's just not someone coming and leaving without anything happening. Things are happening. Emails are getting triggered, ads are getting triggered. um, so it allows companies to spend more, or at least feel good about budgeting for various channels like SEO, like content production, where in the past I might be like, oh, we get traffic to the blog, but nothing's happening. Now you can tie some revenue to the blog. You can target just people that visit the blog with certain ads, with like a 25% discount. Because a lot of times the blog readers, they may not be highly targeted to the software or to the product. They might just be looking to read an article on, how to do this or that or the other thing. Um, so, but they're targeted enough to advertise to when they leave the site, and they can be run like a great promotion because they were a little, they were colder. So you can say like, save 30% on your first order or whatever the case may be, to crank up the value that you're, the promotion. So it does need to be sliced and diced like that. You can do it on a very basic level with retargeting. Everyone sees the same ads, when they leave the site or gets the same email. But really, to do it right over time, you want to slice and dice it, segment it behaviorally, and then have different ads running to different people and different landing pages, like you said. So that's how it, like the most advanced people that do retargeting will have it set up, but you can do it on a very basic level also and be effective. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of valuable insight to help people uh, retarget their way to greatness. And I really appreciate you coming on the show. Can you tell people where they can connect with you and where they can go to be retargeted by you?
Yeah, go to any of my websites. You're definitely going to see my ads following you around. Um, yeah, listen, I'm easy to find. I'm on LinkedIn all the time, hanging out, commenting on people's posts, making my own posts, um, messaging with people. I'm one of those people you can ask about your project. What do you think of this? Is it a good, does it have legs? Is it a good business idea? Do I think it'll work? How should I market this? I'm forever giving out free advice like that. And then if the person is in a position to bring me on, hire me or my agency, great, wonderful. We can talk about that. But I'm not one of those people that, I believe in giving it all away, all the secrets. And you still have to implement the secrets. The secrets are techniques and strategies that I know that work, that I know work over the years. And retargeting is just one aspect of making a thing convert better over time, right? So you can increase your traffic sources, spend the money. You're not going to spend the money unless you feel very confident you're actually capitalizing on it properly. So retargeting, whether it's emails, whether it's display ads, postcards, and there's other ways to do it as well. Um, Once you have all that running and converting like a rock star, then you can really blast the budgets. You can really ramp up the budgets to their fullest capacity. Most companies don't max, they're not at 99% of companies aren't even able to capitalize, reach fruition on all their traffic, right? Like even their search volume. Now in B2B, it's different because it has more limited search volume. In B2C, there's so many searches going on in Google, for instance. Companies can't even advertise the whole time. They can't even have their ads up there the whole time. They just get budgeted out by the clicks. Their budget's 500 a day, and it's $1 a click. They get 500 clicks. Their ad shut off for the day. There could have been another 3,000 clicks to have or more. That could only be 10% of the actual search volume that's appropriate for their brand. So converting better is the goal, right? So you can realize all the volume that there is for you. That's just one example, but that could be extrapolated. Let's say it was LinkedIn B2B, a company advertising B2B. Let's say the audience was 50,000 people. Your ICP is 50,000. To hit those people, you have to be able to convert them, a certain amount of them, in order to spend a certain amount. So if you're able to do that by taking them to the site, then retargeting them, you can get that down. Let's say you're spending 100 a day and you're getting one solid customer out of it, right? One signed up customer that's spending. Then you can say, okay, it's going to cost me $100 to get me one. Then you can increase the budget and just keep throttling it up, and it should still get you one customer for every $100 spent. Now, if it starts getting worse than that, which can happen, or it could get a little lower. So that's how you actually scale digital advertising. You can only do it through lowering, or getting your target cost per customer acquisition, your target, cost per customer, to into a certain range, so that you can increase the, what I call, increase, opening the faucet to realize all the traffic there is in that particular ad platform to that particular audience. And most companies, they can't even do that. So the way to achieve that is by using retargeting properly. That's one aspect of conversion optimization, is leveraging retargeting properly. There are others. There's widgets on the site, tools, different things. But retargeting, obviously, headline testing, which headline works best, which call to action, on-site A/B testing of the page elements. That's another key aspect of CRO, conversion optimization. But retargeting is actually a large part of conversion rate optimization. So it's hugely important to get that right, and work on it. It's not something you can set and forget, but no channel should ever be set and forget, in my opinion. They all need management, all need, intensive management by people who know what they're doing. That helps. So, yeah, that's pretty much the rundown.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you'll come back on again in the future.
Yeah, thanks for having me.